you might be offended by someone burning a flag, and I think that it's perfectly legitimate to be outspoken that you are not okay with it and that you think that the people that do it are pieces of shit. But you can't make that a crime. That that goes against our most basic right, the right to freedom of speech. What do you think, man?
Okay, this is infuriating
Okay.
because I used to self-identify as a conservative. The reason I don't anymore is because of losers like Donald Trump and all the Trumpanites who follow him. And not just because of that, but mostly because of those kind of conservatives that have bought into this false sense of patriotism or nationalism.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, I'm a real American, I wave the flag around, I
Worship my magic
drink.
flag god.
Yeah, I worship the magic flag god, and I go to church every Sunday, and just, the stereotypical conservative values.
Right, and you're an atheist, so it makes sense.
Right. But,
Hi, Drew's grandma.
I'm a devout Mormon, but, so, what bothers me is
Me too.
conservatism traditionally has been about small government. We want government out of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We want less of it. But what it's turned into is this more fascist, we want less government in certain part of our lives, but all the stuff that we disagree with, we want more government.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of how liberals have been for a while. And now conservatives are just kind of turning that leaf, which is disgusting to
me. From my perspective, it's been that way forever. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the notion that you are a small government supporter and you voted for Donald Trump, you're not. I don't know what you are.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the Tea Party, when I was in high school, I actually was also a libertarian. And I was, I think, 16 when the Tea Party movement started. And that was around the time that the Great Recession started. And I was really excited about it. I thought, man, this is a movement, man. We're gonna change things. We're gonna take back essentially our economy from the government. We're not gonna let them fuck things up anymore. And I went to a rally, and it was just a bunch of fat old white people. And I was like, this is interesting. Why are all these well-off people here? And it turned out that the Koch brothers were funding the Tea Party, and it was all just a ploy to try to basically just hurt the Obama administration. And it was a smoking gun, and that's what Trump is. Except for that he's a more obvious smoking gun, because it's not like we're all just a bunch of common folks, and we want to take the government back. He's like, I'm very rich, and
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well,
I
don't. Yeah, I don't know what you're getting at. So I'm not like a Tea Party supporter.
No, I know you
but
are.
I think that's fiction about it being funded. But
I can show you some research, and we can even put it in the
yeah, we'll have to
in our little info bar on the channel. But
okay, but well, anywho, all right. You want less government in your life. Cool. But you're gonna say if someone burns the flag, they need to be locked up and go to jail? What the only countries like where I can think of like where that's a norm is like North Korea or China. Well, like back when Mao Zedong was in power, and
even they didn't give that big of a shit about their flags, dude. Like,
dude,
we're the only country that's this obsessed with our fucking flag, man.
The most American thing you can do is not protect the flag. the most American thing you can do, like I was telling you before, is to protect the Constitution and protect someone's right to freedom of expression. That's the most American thing you can do. If you... It's just like, I don't get the whole defense like, I'm going to support the flag because I'm American. I honestly, in my opinion, someone who burns the flag, I think there's someone, it's a whiny... Usually I think of someone from the ages of 16 to 26 who doesn't know how to articulate their feelings. But
Nah.
that's mostly how I feel about flag burners. And most of the time they're not very well informed, and I do think that a lot of times they're pieces of crap. I don't know if you've ever burnt a flag, so I really do apologize if you have.
I have not burned a flag, but because of okay, so my oldest brother is actually I guess the term would be crunchy conservative, but his values line up more with you than with me. But me and him both, we have since we were little kids meaning like middle school age, we've made a point to never stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I would actually get in trouble in school for that. But, from teachers, once in high school, the principal actually made one of my teachers apologize to me for trying to get me to stand up for saying the Pledge of Allegiance. But I think it's... I keep ranting, but I think it's bullshit to have all this flag worship. I think you can love America without treating our flag like it is literally a holy idol. And you know what? Honestly, in Trump's America, just to be a dick, I probably will burn a few flags and light my Cuban cigar with the burning flag. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Cubans, Castro's dead.
That's pretty cool. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a communist. That's a bad thing.
It really is.
No, it is.
Yeah.
I hate uninformed liberals who are just as bad as conservatives and can't differentiate socialism from communism. Very different things. Communism is very bad. There was never a communist country that wasn't fascist. And Castro was a bad dude.
Yeah. Well, did you see what Jill Stein posted on?
I didn't. I'm sure it's awesome, though.
No, it was terrible.
She's a nice, strong woman. Don't you dare.
She posted about how, Castro is, the leader of the free world and, helped oppressed people everywhere.
Jill Stein was awesome because in the 90s she had a rap album about one of the songs was about how it's really hip and courageous to ride a bike instead of drive a car because you're not raping Mother Earth. So, don't talk shit about her, man. She's awesome and perfect. Very sexy older woman.
It's just
I would
funny
make love
that
to
someone...
her. Jill Stein, I'll make love to you all night. Anyways.
It's just funny that someone, who is running for president...
Everyone who is running for president... Gary Johnson, Jill Stein, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump. All fucking ridiculous cartoon clowns.
True. True. And Gary Johnson, even though me being libertarian is probably the biggest clown.
I liked him okay because he was the most humble. When he didn't know something, he was honest. But he did goofy shit.
I know.
Like the tongue thing.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what the American people wanted. And this is why the libertarians failed. So if they had nominated Austin Peterson, he kind of would have ran a campaign similar to the Trump campaign. But just the libertarian form that promotes more freedom and less fascism. But the American people wanted a populace that's going to throw a brick through the window of the establishment. That's what they wanted. And they weren't going to get that with Hillary Clinton.
Of course not.
And Donald Trump, out of the Green Party, the Libertarians, the Democrats, he was the only one. And Gary Johnson was just the most boring, bland candidate that the Libertarians could put out there. He was just a weirdo. And here's the thing, Libertarians would try to play off, Donald Trump's a pussy. Gary Johnson's a man. He rides his bike for 100 miles. He rode it across the country.
And he smokes
climbed,
weed, so you know
Yeah.
he's cool.
He climbed Mount Everest.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And like he's a badass. But when I think of bikers and people who wear biker shorts and stuff, I think of giant pussies. So, yeah, the libertarians really dropped the ball on that one.
Also, I think that that's like a really weak thing to do. Like, everyone was like obsessed with, not, by everyone I mean people at like Fox News. A few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, at a G8 summit, they were talking about how Obama was working out on he was riding one of those bikes, what are they called? Where it's like stationary.
Oh, stationary bike.
Sure. He was riding one of those, whereas Vladimir Putin, the big sexy man that he was, swam shirtless across the lake when it was cold out. And, clearly he's a better leader because he's a big sexy man swimming shirtless. Like, what the fuck? What does that have to do with politics? We don't live in Game of Thrones universe, man. Our leaders don't fight each other to the death. What the fuck? I don't get this obsession with the guy has to be masculine. No, he doesn't. Most of them are in their 60s and 70s. I'm a fat fuck, and I could kick the shit out of most dudes in their 70s. Like,
Here's
what?
the thing. Yeah, well, we want strong masculine leadership, and I'm not saying that it has to be a man. Like, I think Hillary Clinton actually did represent that for Democrats.
Yeah. She's a very, very handsome woman. I don't know.
But, yeah, anywho, Gary Johnson, that sucks. But,
You seem so defeated when you said that.
it's
He
like-
sucks.
oh, dude, you know how mad I was during the Libertarian Convention? So, like, here's the thing, the Libertarian Party, they have, like, one or, like, two, what's it called? Not caucuses. Yeah, a caucus, something like that. And, like, one in Missouri and then one in, like, New Hampshire. And then they have the convention where all the votes are that. So unless
Right.
you go to the convention in Orlando, you don't get a vote. And so me, even though I'm a registered libertarian, because I'm in Washington and they didn't do a primary here, I didn't get to choose Gary Johnson. And all the polls, even on the party website, they had a poll on the party website. Who would you vote for? Austin Peterson dominated that poll, like way ahead of Gary Johnson. They did like a Twitter poll, and this might just reflect that he reached out to the young folks that use the internet. But every like poll out there had Austin Peterson as the clear favorite. But then, and the Libertarian Party is such, like a fringe party. But
Full of
even
crazy people.
Yeah, even a fringe party like the Libertarian Party was plagued by establishment politics. And that's why Gary Johnson was elected, because he was the establishment of the Libertarian Party.
Well, it's like I was telling you earlier. I would be horrified if we had a libertarian president, but it's probably good for Austin Peterson that he did not get the nomination this time around. Because in 2020, there's going to be a lot of conservatives who are going to be sick of Trump and the fact that he caused the second Great Depression. And they're going to vote libertarian. So there's a small chance that a libertarian might actually be president in 2020. I think that'd be awful, but it's a possibility.
Economically, it'd be great.
Well, we'll have to do another video on that one. Okay, so final thoughts on the flag burning thing.
Well, ultimately, anyone who wants to burn a flag, they can, but shouldn't, because you're a dummy. It's a stupid way of expressing freedom of expression.
It's a sexy,
Yeah.
patriotic way.
Yeah, it's a very, I don't know. I think if you do it, I think you're dumb. That's like the nicest way to say it. I think you're dumb and uneducated if you burn a flag, but I'll defend your right to do so.
So, in the little link below message thing, there's going to be details about my flag burning party coming up. So, check that out if you want to be a real patriot.
He also does cross burnings.
Yeah, the Jew does cross burnings. All right.